Hello my friends, welcome back to the channel. Miri's here. I hope you're doing well. For this video, I've spent $2,000 and I've ordered every single jacket that Hollister had for this upcoming winter. I can't wait to try them all on and review them with you guys. So without any further ado, let's jump right into this video. Alright, before we jump into the Hollister jackets, I did want to review this sweater very quickly. The reason why is because I absolutely love it. It's the perfect quality, the way it sits on my body. I just love the shape that it creates. I love the color. I love the quality. I absolutely love this fur little part here at the top. Once I put on the hood, it's absolutely amazing because sometimes jackets and sweaters especially tend to have hoods that are way too big or way too small. I feel like here it's absolutely perfect. You can also detach the fur part if you want to wash the sweater, because I was a little bit puzzled. I'm like, how am I supposed to wash this if it never comes off? You can definitely take it off. You can wash it, you can attach it back on, or keep it that way. I love that it has pockets on the inside. It is so cozy. I love this sweater. If there was one thing that I could ask for or would add to this sweater, is probably a hole for the thumb. I feel like, especially on winter stuff, every time there is that hole for the thumb, it just makes it even cozier, especially if you wear it when you go skiing or something. I don't know, that's potentially something I'm missing here, but other than that, it is an absolute 10 out of 10. I really like this sweater, would recommend it 10 out of 10. Let's move on to the first jacket. As I was taking off and putting the fur back on to that sweater, I've changed my mind because the fur does really fall out of the piece itself. Like, my entire room was kind of covered in that fur. So for that, I will take actually like 2 points off, maybe even 3. So it's like a 7 or an 8 sweater, because in my opinion, if that fur is gonna look like garbage after you wear it 2-3 times, then what's the point of that sweater? I feel like it's definitely not the best sweater without that fur. Like, the fur definitely adds something to it. So without the fur, assuming that the fur is gonna be bad in a couple of wears, I'm probably gonna give it a 7 out of 10, unfortunately. However, now let's move on to this vest. I really like it. It is very cozy. Again, love the fur, love the color, love the way it sits on me. It is very warm, although I'm standing in plus 23 in my apartment, so you'd hope it's warm. But like, I can tell that it's like not a light vest. It's definitely puffy, with a proper sweater underneath. I feel like you could definitely go out before it gets to the really cold weather, but you know, still when it's cold outside. Once again, the fur part on this vest is also removable, so you can detach it if you want. The only thing I don't like about this jacket is the hood once you fully close it. I'm sorry, but this does not sit well. I don't know if that's just the shape of my head or if it's gonna look the same on everyone else, but I don't like the way it sits on me. So I probably wouldn't wear the hood, or at least not fully. Like, I wouldn't, you know, close it around the neck, which is such a great idea. Like, I love the fact that we can be warm and stylish, but unfortunately the stylish portion kind of went out of the window with that hood. So other than that, really like it. The only thing I will say is probably the color. I love the color because it's like, it's not white, it's this milky color, which is absolutely gorgeous. I love it. So with the hood, with the fur part, I feel like I'm gonna give this jacket a 9 out of 10. Again, could probably wear it with the hood off or even on without closing it fully, but not closing it fully. 9 out of 10, let's move on. All right, my friends, here comes the next jacket, and this one's interesting because I absolutely love the color. I love the idea. However, because they didn't have my size, which is extra small, I ended up getting extra small, and I feel like it's a little bit too big for me. I don't know if you can tell, but it does look a little bit too big on me, if you ask me, and I wish it was a little bit smaller. But even then, like, I don't know if I really like the pattern. I feel like when I was ordering this online and I saw how cute it was pink, it had those nice bows on it. But then I got here and I'm like, I don't know. So this one's not my favorite simply because of the design. I don't know, it just doesn't suit me. I'm not in love with the color. Like, it's kind of like this dusty pink, which normally I like, but not in this situation. Again, the size is too big. I don't know, just not the biggest fan of this jacket. And I feel like every time I see jackets have these like strings on the side where you can like pull them and make it more tight, I've never seen it work perfectly for me. Every time it just like, it's very obvious that you're tying it together and it doesn't look good in my opinion. There's no seamless way of doing it. So not a fan of this jacket all in all. I would give it like a 5 out of 10. Not my favorite. Let's move on. All right, my friends, I decided to separate the jackets into like themes. So we went through all the vests and now we are onto the shorter jackets. So here comes the first one. I love this one. So speaking about the color, such an interesting design pattern. I love how it looks. It's definitely unique. It's not too white. It's not too gray. It's this like milky, very interesting color. Love it. When it comes to how warm it is rated to be the warmest on the scale that Hollister provides to us. It's definitely a warm jacket. Like, I would totally take this skiing or something. Like, if it was cold, if you were trying to go skiing, this is the perfect jacket. It is very, very warm. But even then, like, our winters get pretty cold. If I had to go for a walk or anything like that, I would definitely put on this jacket. I don't even think you need too many sweaters or too many layers underneath. This jacket is very warm as is. As I've mentioned before, when it comes to winter jackets or winter anything, I feel like it's important to have this area for the thumbs. I love it. When it comes to the hood, it's not my absolute favorite, but then again, I do have a hard time with hoods in general, so it's okay, it's passable. When it comes to this zipper, however, I really like the way they did it here. It comes all the way to your chin, meaning that your neck is not going to be cold, which is again so important for the Canadian harsh winters. I love this jacket. The only thing I would change are these strings on the side again, because I'm personally never going to use them. Maybe other people use them, I don't know. Please let me know in the comments if you use these strings for anything. To me, they just look awkward. Like, every time I actually tie them or make them tighter, they don't really look that great in my opinion. So I don't really use them. Not sure why we need them on winter jackets, at least in this area specifically, like at the bottom. To me, it just kind of makes you look rounded. Like, I don't know, not a fan of that. But other than that, this jacket is definitely a good jacket. I would totally get it for winter. A solid 9.5 out of 10. I would recommend it. Here comes the next jacket. This one, okay, let's talk through each thing individually. Color, love the color. Very, very clean, like baby powder pink type of color. I love this pink. Very, very pretty color. Next thing I want to mention is definitely how light it is, even though it says warmer on the jacket itself, meaning it's supposed to be not the warmest, but also warmer than the regular warm. I don't think so. It feels very light. I feel like I would be cold wearing this jacket during winter. It's definitely more of a spring type of jacket in my opinion. But then again, it has this fur which kind of screams winter, which just not warm enough in my opinion. I don't think so. I love the fur part, but hear me out. Every single jacket we've tried so far that had that fur, it is not good. Like, it is falling apart. You might probably notice that some of that fur comes onto my leggings. Like, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. I don't like the quality of the fur. It is very fragile. As soon as you touch it even a little bit, it just kind of poofs everywhere. So for that reason, I'm not the biggest fan of the fur jackets in general, and this one included. However, here, one thing I do really like is the way you can take it on and off, that fur piece. Again, I was able to do it on all the other jackets as well. Some of the other jackets that I showed had buttons, which buttoning up that fur, first of all, it's gonna fall apart in your hands. Second of all, it's gonna look meh by the time you do it, like, because you keep touching it, and it's difficult. Like those buttons are difficult to do. And then here, I really like that it's half and half. So part of it is buttons, and then the other part is like those like clips, which is at least it's not going to be as difficult to put it back on and take it back off if needed. So for that, I like it. The other thing I'll mention is the pockets. Pockets are tiny. Like I have a really hard time putting my hands inside the pockets. My hands are pretty small and I didn't have that problem with any other jackets. It's this one specifically that has very, very, very tiny pockets. I'm not sure why. It does have pockets on the inside as well, which is cool. I personally never put anything on my inside pockets, but again, like these ones are tiny. You won't be able to really fit your hands in there, in my opinion, or at least you won't be able to do it comfortably. So for that, I'll take a few points off. I do really like how this jacket sits on me overall. I do think it's not for winter. I would give this jacket a solid 7. It's a very cool, and I would even say cute jacket, especially if you get it in this girly pink color, but it's not for winter in my opinion. So let's move on. Alrighty, I am so thankful to myself for not only ordering pink jackets. I really tried hard to not end up with all pink jackets from Hollister. So here comes the next one. I've ordered it in black, but of course all the jackets that you see here today, they all come in different colors. So don't think that this is the only option. There's definitely a lot more online. So when it comes to this jacket specifically, it is not my most favorite. I've had such a hard time zipping it up if I didn't have my hood on, which doesn't make any sense. Like, I'm not sure if that's just a one-off jacket where the zipper was not working perfectly, but I didn't have any other problems with any other jackets. I took a while to zip up this jacket, and it only really worked once I put the hood up. So not ideal. When it comes to the design of the jacket itself, also not a fan. Again, I'm trying everything here to see how I like it because you never know, you might end up with something that looks really amazing on you without you ever knowing it. This was not the case. Like I put it on and I almost feel like I'm 5 years old. I just don't like the style of this jacket, I guess. No offense to anyone who does. I'm sure it might fit other people better than it fits me, but for myself, I just don't think this is it for me. So all in all, with the weird zipper, I would give this jacket I'll give it like a 4 out of 10. I also don't really like the material. Like for some reason, it feels very cheap. Among the other jackets, I immediately feel like I'm not even wearing something from Hollister. That's how far I'll put it. So not a fan. Let's move on. Here comes the last short jacket, and this one is, I have such mixed feelings about this one. So positives are color. I mean, do you see this color? It is such a pretty pink with all the flowers that are going on. I am obsessed. Like, I love this design. I would totally wear this jacket if not for the negatives that I'm going to discuss later, but the color itself, Hollister is not known for their interesting colors. Like, they usually have very solid colors. As we've seen, they have pretty pinks, blacks, whites, whatever, but every time they try to do a little bit of design, I fall in love immediately. Next, of course, it has these holes for thumbs. Once again, love that. And everything else is questionable. First of all, the jacket itself, I don't really like the way it sits on me. Like, I just look like a giant ball. I don't know how to explain it. It looks weird on me. Please let me know if you don't think so. I don't know. I don't like how it sits on me. It again has those strings that you can tie and make it tighter at the bottom, but I feel like it's gonna make me look even more rounder. So not a fan of how it sits on me. Now, the jacket is rated for warmer, which I again disagree. I don't think it's warmer. It is a very light jacket in my opinion. Like, I would rate it warm, and I would definitely not wear this during winter. It is not for the winter. And the next thing I'm not really a fan of is the fact that there's no hood. Like, to me, if you are making a winter jacket, it just needs to have a hood. I don't know, like, convince me otherwise. Just given where we live, I cannot imagine myself not having a hood on my winter jacket. So not a huge negative, but a negative to me nonetheless. So I'm in love with the color. If I was judging the color itself, I would give it 10 out of 10. But the jacket, however, I'm probably gonna give it a 5. Unfortunately, I wouldn't buy this for myself during winter. Alrighty, here comes our long winter jackets. Definitely feel like I am facing the big bosses here because they definitely feel a lot more wintry than the rest of the jackets that we've gone through so far. So let's talk about them. So when it comes to this jacket, there's a lot of good and some bad that I want to say here. So let's go through it. I like how this jacket sits on me from the back. And I, for some reason, don't like the way it sits on me in the front. I don't know how to explain it. It just doesn't make sense to me in the front. It feels weird, looks weird. I'm not a fan. What I do really like about it is that you can definitely make that middle portion tighter. And the way you do it is from the inside where you can tie those strings. As I've mentioned before, I normally hate them, but I hate them when they are at the bottom of those jackets or pants or sweaters because it just makes everything rounder. Here, however, you are basically trying to make your waist look thinner, which I do really like the idea. It's a cool idea in my opinion. And again, you can do that and then, nobody's gonna see that you've tied it. And if you wanna make it less tight, you can also do that. So I do really like the concept. This jacket has huge pockets, which is always a positive, especially during winter because you just wanna put your hands in there right away. So I love the pockets. Next is these three clips on the back. I'm honestly not sure how you're supposed to use them. Like every time I try to clicking and unclicking them, I don't really understand what the point is. So please let me know if you know. But to me, it just seems like a cool design idea, however, not very useful, and I wouldn't really unbutton them because in my opinion it doesn't really make sense. So not sure about those ones. It has pockets on the inside, which is really cool. And my other favorite thing about this jacket is how warm it is. So it's definitely rated for warmest. I'm not sure how the other long jackets are gonna feel, but this one is definitely warmest out of the ones we've tried so far. Color, not my favorite. It is a little bit, it's not gray, it's not green. I can't really name this color. I just don't think it suits me, but it is an interesting color. I do like that it's not your regular white or black. I'm not a fan of normally like black jackets because it's just too dark in my opinion, and white is not practical for winters. So this is an interesting color to try if you want, but I don't feel like it suits me. And the other thing is the hood. I don't know if I like the hood because I feel like this jacket is so like big and luxurious, but then it comes to the hood and it's like, I'm tiny and yeah. So I don't really like how the hood sits on me, not a fan of that. Overall, I would give this jacket a 7 out of 10. I do really like the way it sits on me from the back, not the front. All in all, I'm gonna give this jacket a 7 out of 10. All right, my friends, here comes the next long jacket. And at first, I honestly thought that this one was the same one as the one we just tried, but in a different color. And it took me a minute to realize that no, it is not the same jacket. In fact, they are different. And let me show you where. So number one is these clips on the side. This one has 3 of them instead of 2 in the row. Once again, I have no idea why it's there. It also has the similar concept of tying it around the waist area to make it more tighter there. I don't know, I just don't like the idea. This one definitely sits better in my opinion, but there's something I absolutely hate about this jacket, and that is the way it sits at the very bottom. It kind of goes like this, like a skirt, and I don't know why. Like, this is not a skirt, it's supposed to be a winter jacket, and I really wish that maybe it was more straight. That way, if you don't tighten it around the waist area and you just keep it straight, then it can be like a long, straight winter jacket, and I would love that. But unfortunately, it looks weird towards the bottom again. It just looks like a skirt, and I really, really don't like that. Other than that, the hood feels weird for this type of jacket. It feels a little bit too small, like I have a hard time even pulling it towards my head. Do like the thumb areas, again, it's all there. Don't understand the back part. Again, it confuses me so much. I don't know why it's there. Please, 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 if you know, let me know, because I have no idea why they're there. But that's about it. Other than that, they are very, very similar jackets, and am probably gonna give a 7 to this one as well. This one is also warmest on that scale of winter jackets from Hollister. And if I was to compare it to the one we just tried, they're probably equal for me. I would give it the same. They're both are very, very warm. I don't think one is warmer than the other. I was gonna give it more just because I do like how it sits in the front, but then again, I don't like how it sits towards the bottom. It feels like a random skirt or something. I wish it was straight, and I can't recall if that was the issue I had last year with winter jackets from Hollister, but something is telling me that that's the issue I had last year as well. So 7 out of 10. Let's move on onto the last long jacket that we have here today. I feel so sad right now because it turns out I don't like any of the long jackets this year. Let's talk about this last one. I don't know why Hollister went with this idea for this year where you can tie your winter jackets around your waist area. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know why they did that. That kind of just ruined every single long winter jacket for me here. I wish that was not the case. I wish they just created a long, straight winter jacket. Like, that's what I'm looking for. Maybe just my sense of fashion and people are gonna love the ones that I'm showing to them right now. Who knows? My honest opinion is I don't like them. This one specifically is warm, same rated as warmest along every other long winter jacket. I really like that on the inside it is fully made of this very cozy material, including the actual, like the full back and including the hood as well. So the material is very cozy. I do really like it when they put it in winter jackets. The other two did not have it fully like in the back and the hoods. So I do really like the idea here on this jacket specifically. This one is interesting. I don't like the color. Again, I am obsessed with pink and I try to get something pink here and there as much as I can. This one's not my favorite shade of pink. It's closer to purple, I would want to say, like dirty purple. I don't know. I don't like it that much. The hood is very tiny once again. Like, I have a hard time putting it on. The pockets are very big, so that's nice. And of course they have the nice thumb area, just like any other jacket. So all in all, it's not a bad jacket per se. I just really don't like how it sits on me, to be honest with you. Let's move on to the next group of jackets. Here comes the next jacket, or the next two jackets actually. So let's talk about this first one first. This one is interesting. The next two jackets, I feel like they are not winter jackets. They are not labeled as winter jackets, but in my opinion, there's something that, you know, I'm not gonna wear this during summer or even fall. It's definitely for winter, but it's for those types of occasions where you are going somewhere by car and you are barely gonna be outside. So definitely I wouldn't take this to go, you know, skiing or something, or you know, for a long walk outside. But if you are just going inside like a store, or you're going out to see your friends, again inside somewhere, then I would recommend this jacket. This one specifically is very nice. It has a very big hood, which I like a lot. It's very cozy. I have a similar one without a hood and I absolutely love that jacket. I wear it all the time. I'm not a fan of the color, to be honest with you. I don't know, just something that's off for me about this color. I wish it was either a little bit more darker, like closer to brown, or a little bit lighter. No, probably darker. Darker would suit me better. Other than that, the jacket is really nice. I feel like it's a little bit too big for me, but then again, maybe if I put like a nice sweater underneath that's gonna be a little bit thicker, then this jacket is gonna go over perfectly. All in all, really, really like this jacket. I would probably give it like an 8 out of 10. All right, here comes the last jacket. And this one, first of all, is a little bit too big on me because they only had extra small size and I would definitely need extra small. This one is, I like it. It's, again, one of those jackets that if you are going out with your friends and you have a cute outfit going on, you're not gonna wear your winter jacket, even though I've shown you some cute ones today, but they're definitely not for going out with friends to like a restaurant or something. This is something that you would wear during those times. I do really like the design, I like the pattern. It sits very nicely on me. I mean, again, it's a little bit too big. If it was my size, it would sit perfectly. It has very nice pockets. Quality is really good, like touching it, playing with it here, trying it on, nothing is falling apart. You know, in comparison to those fur pieces that were on the hood that I keep telling you about that they were not the best. This one is actually really good. Like, it's nicely done, nothing is falling apart. It's not all over my pants yet, so I do really like this one. In terms of, again, not the perfect winter jacket, please don't take this skiing, you will be cold. It doesn't even have a proper zipper here or anything like that. I would probably give it a 9 out of 10. I do like it more than the one I just showed you. I feel like the one I just showed you would be for like going to the mall, kind of like shopping, and this one is going to a restaurant to see friends, whereas all the other ones are definitely like I'm going skiing, I'm going for a walk, I'm going to work, all those types of moments. All right, my friends, and that was it. I do want to do a quick conclusion. If I had to go through all different categories and choose one jacket from each, let me quickly do that. From the vests, I would choose this white vest, more like milky, I would even say. Fits better than the pink one, looks better on me. It's the perfect vest. I love vests, but I haven't gotten a vest in a while, and all the vests that I do have are black. So this one is the perfect color, sits great on me. I love the idea of it. It's just perfect, you know, definitely something that I would keep for myself. Next, moving on onto the shorter winter jackets, I would definitely recommend this one, which is again that milky color, very interesting animal print. I loved that jacket. So warm, like you will not be cold during winter in that jacket. It sits perfectly, it looks amazing. I love that jacket, recommend 10 out of 10. When it comes to the longer jackets, as you know, I was not a fan of all of them pretty much. If I absolutely had to choose one, I would probably go for the very last one or the very first one. I still don't know. I wouldn't recommend any of them, to be honest with you. I would probably shop around somewhere else. They were just not my favorite. I can't recommend you either of them. When it comes to the last ones, as I mentioned a few moments ago, I would go with both of them, but for different occasions. One is for a grocery store type of shopping, and then the other one is we are going out with friends type of moment. All in all, I feel like this season was a little bit different compared to the last one. Definitely had some very interesting design patterns, which I was obsessed with. However, when it came to the actual styles of those jackets, like this year, I didn't like most of them. They were weird. Like they were, I don't know, it's so hard to explain. I feel like colors were there, ideas were there, but the styles of the jackets were a little bit outdated in my opinion. So I feel like there's less pieces that I loved this year, but the ones that I loved. Like, you know what I mean? Last year, they were nice pieces here and there were a lot of them. This year, way less jackets that I actually liked, but way more jackets that I absolutely loved. And on this note, I'm gonna wrap up this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and I hope you found it helpful. If you did, please leave a comment down below. Give this video a big thumbs up. Stay warm this winter and I will see you in the next video. Bye!